time needs that combination of things in order to tell the function menus. So really it's a very, very simple, the simplest possible gesture world, if you will. So I'm interacting with it in a way that I'm touching things. And if my hands are waving over the surface or I'm chopping vegetables, those kind of gestures won't get accidentally interpreted by the system because it really needs to be aligned with command functions. And if I don't want to do anything, these command functions will all eventually time out and fade away so that I can just ignore the interactive part entirely and just do my cooking thing. So again, for those folks who just stepped up, what we're interested in looking at here is 3D real-time object recognition and real-time gesture recognition. So we're using a depth camera, so RGB camera plus a depth encoded data. So on the poster there, the first block is the RGB data, regular camcorder data. The second diagram shows the depth data that we're extracting. We process both of those with real-time algorithms. And essentially we figure out what's considered to be background, remove that from the scene, and then any objects or your hands that come into the scene, like you can see on this window live, this is what it's taking to be the objects of interest that it immediately tries to recognize and track. So in this case, I put down a steak. It tells me it thinks it's a steak, and it gives me an interaction point, and if I press the interaction point, I get a list of menus. So for instance, here it's recipes, and I can choose a recipe, and the recipe pops up. Let me just get rid of that for a second. In addition to doing one object, let's say I have a second object here. So it's recognizing each of these separately, telling me what it thinks they are. If I put these very close together, it gives me this circle and tells me that they're grouped. And now what it's going to do when I ask for commands like recipes or calories, it's going to actually suggest the combination of both of those ingredients in a recipe. So now I get the steak and peppers, or for this collection of ingredients in my refrigerator, what could I make with that? It suggests what I could make. And then if I move the recipe over, because it's an interactive system, I can bring up things like timers, I can bring up images of what the dish should look like or what aspects of the dish should look like. It could give me video instructions. And when I'm done with the recipe, I can just brush it off the front of the counter to delete it, the same way you brush crumbs away. We also have a notion of a drawer. So if you wanted to save recipes or shopping lists, we can save things in the drawer. In this case, I have a shopping list saved in the drawer, and so I can add things to the shopping list by selecting them and adding a quantity. I can also do something like set an ingredient next to the shopping list, and it actually assumes I mean add this ingredient I'm about to use up to my shopping list. So now I can add that ingredient. And I'll just store this back away in the drawer. And for some objects, you may want special functions like timers. So in this case, when I have the ice cream set down, what it's going to do is give me a timer to tell me how long it's been out on the counter so that I understand something about how close to melting it might be, or if it's meat on the counter, I want to know how long it's been out of the refrigerator, so we can actually launch some actions automatically with things. And then our sort of one joke item, because we're trying to at least have a little more fun too, is that we can detect accidents. In addition to everyday objects, we can detect everyday accidents and figure out when they happened and maybe who did them so that somebody knows they have to come clean it up.